Hello and welcome to Natilik Live. My name's Rory Tempest and I'm here today to host a session talking all around the world of storage. And to do that, I'm delighted to welcome back Max Brown from Pure Storage. Max, great to have you back on.
Thank you very much.
Natilik Live. Now, last time we were around, we were talking more around Pure as a business and your heritage and where you've come from. Today, I want to focus more, I guess, on a bit of the wider portfolio and sort of where Pure fit and talking about storage in general, I suppose.
Okay.
So one of the things that I've been asked a lot and speaking to clients, we work with clients of different shapes and sizes, working in different verticals, lots of storage vendors out there.
Yeah.
Sort of, how would you say Pure, where does Pure play in that space in terms of the industry overall?
So, where Pure squarely fits is in what I'd call the tier one kind of business critical, mission critical, enterprise class data, which for most customers would be things like virtual machine environments, databases, billing systems. Sometimes it's easy to see where we don't fit. So things like home directories, user file shares. What we're doing is we're powering some of the world's biggest gaming industries. We're behind some of the world's largest banks, Formula One cars, but all the way through to a lot of finance, legal and insurance, where it's all about performance and availability and simplicity. So again, kind of tier one enterprise space, that's kind of where we fit. Although we do go from very small, kind of 20 terabytes up to 3 petabytes, but the most value is derived from kind of the higher end SMB and tier one enterprise and globals.
Okay. And in terms of those, if we think about those types and styles of organizations, again, this isn't just an on-premise conversation anymore. A lot of them talking about the cloud. And I know a lot of interest we've had in talking about when we consider storage and we consider storage infrastructure, what do we do in terms of the cloud and clients that are maybe on that journey? Where does sort of Pure fit within that?
So it's interesting. So a lot of people kind of initially thought everything's going to go to the cloud. What's the point of buying on-premise storage? And what we found is in any business, especially when you kind of start going up the stack in terms of SMB versus enterprise, you find that probably there's about 20 to 30% or more that has to remain on premise. That could be for simple legal reasons, but sometimes it's for performancy, it's for simplicity, and it's just kind of for general ease of use. So actually on-premise storage has not kind of seen a downtrend, it's continued to grow. Where people might deploy things in the cloud are things like for using software as a service, maybe doing things like file shares. And we've also seen the fact that, cloud, the way that cloud works is a subscription model. The bill doesn't actually get cheaper. So we have seen some customers that went to the cloud because of simplicity, right? It's, as they call it, your mess for less. I don't have to manage infrastructure. But then they found the bill gets bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it almost becomes unsustainable. But then if customers can come out of the cloud, or maybe not even go to the cloud, but have a cloud-like experience on premise, then that kind of squarely fits in with exactly what Pure are offering.
And is that kind of then, as a differentiator, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, and lots of our viewers, I'm sure tuned in today, probably have experienced, that sort of cloud versus on-prem versus hybrid world. Where would you say Pure is different, though, to other vendors in the marketplace?
So there's some key things we did. So if you look at it from a very simplistic level, we have, a storage appliance that's full of flash drives, as do many other vendors. So how are we really genuinely different? The first thing we looked at was it's just got to be kind of effortless. It's just got to be so easy to use that you don't need to understand storage. And I've been selling storage long enough that I've been on so many training courses. And the way we founded Pure was that if we design a new feature or new solution where we require customers to go on training, we need to rewrite that feature. So we literally don't have end user training courses. I mean, we have some kind of videos on the web, but nothing that you need to do. Compare this to the hundreds of pages of manuals from everybody else. We just want something that's so simple and intuitive, it becomes almost like a smartphone experience. The next thing is, to make something easy, it just has to work. Right? You don't want to be sitting in your operations center watching a screen, waiting for something to go red. And it's kind of even more advanced than that, if you look at support, you have reactive support where you phone up the vendor and say something's gone wrong and they investigate. You have proactive support where the vendor says, I can see that something's gone wrong. And then you've got predictive support, which is where we are, where we actually call our customers before there's even an issue. Prevention is always better than cure, and with predictive support, we can see issues before they happen. So 80% of our support calls are opened automatically by some kind of AI algorithm, and then either resolved or we fix it before anything becomes an issue. And the things just have to work. So again, we don't want customers making decisions around storage that are complex. So we have lots of data services, whether it's things like deduplication, compression, encryption, snapshots, replication, geo-clustering. But in terms of the decisions you make behind that, should I turn it on, should I turn it off, they all just run. So the only decision literally that a Pure administrator would make is how much capacity do I give to those servers? There's no other decisions you need to make. And then the last thing that made us fundamentally different from all the other competition, and they're all trying to copy us now, is something that we call evergreen. So in the world of hardware, whether it's a server, a switch, storage, could be anything, every IT manager has gone through the tech refresh cycle, where generally every 3 to 5 years, they're going to repurchase what they've already got. And either that's because the support cost for year, let's say 6 and 7, have gone through the roof, or the technology's got old and they want something new. And the simplest way we did it, or I guess the simplest analogy to this, is similar to, in some ways, a mobile phone contract, where you get a new phone every 2 years, pay the same amount. We do the same with Pure. So every 3 years, as long as you have a valid support contract, we refresh the storage controllers for the latest and greatest. So the simple way to put it is, when a customer buys a Pure array, they would never buy another one to replace it. We just constantly refresh it. The support costs stay flat forever. All the software features are included. So it becomes the simplest purchase decision they've ever made. And it's things like this that have resulted in our 40% year-on-year growth. Every year we're acquiring about another 1,500 to 2,000 customers. And in terms of employees, we've gone from kind of when I started 4 years ago with about 1,000 employees to close to 3,000 now. And it's the same with the customers. And we've yet to see a customer get to the end of a 3-year cycle and leave Pure. They just stay with us because they've seen it as the perfect answer.
And it's an amazing story. And I think what I take from that is sort of simple, intuitive, proactive, and evergreen. And I think, welcome in that storage space, right, in where it's been dominated by some big legacy players. Whilst I've got you, I always like asking a bit of opinion on the marketplace in terms of where do you see, it's often hard to predict in the world of cloud and where we're going. Where do you see the storage market moving to?
I think there's definitely more of an approach to doing some kind of hybrid cloud thing. So yes, you can put your data in the cloud, but how does that integrate with what you've got on premise? How we tie these things together? We've also seen the storage market start to evolve in terms of, the flash array that we sell, which is, what you'd use for your VMs, your databases, your traditional, what I call tier 1 workloads. There's also this new world. I call it a new world because it's becoming more prevalent, and they're becoming less buzzwords and more reality. Things like people talk about machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, and that's going to be kind of the new wave of analytics. So where people might have just had small analytics or Oracle, let's say, data warehouse environments, maybe they're moving towards things like Apache Spark, or they're replacing their Hadoop systems with something larger. And more customers are doing analytics. So now, the question that we ask customers isn't what are you running your VMs on, what are you running your production databases on? It's what are you doing for analytics? And customers are starting to build brand new analytics environments that are using a lot of the new tools. And this is where, our FlashBlade product, which is our scale out kind of NFS object-based storage, is becoming way more successful for things like everything from genome sequencing to hedge fund algorithmic trading through to Formula One car design. So that's kind of one of the futures. The other one is cloud, and we will have some cloud announcements in the next couple of months. I can't really allude to anything now in the kind of public forum. But yeah, there'll definitely be a lot more tie-ins with how Pure is going to operate in a kind of cloud-like model. And there's also new storage, I would say, kind of storage technologies coming along in terms of we've gone from spinning disk to flash, but now flash is changing, and I won't bore you with the buzzwords, but there's some new things coming on that's going to make the technology even faster and even denser. And the way we design Pure is that we can see what's coming, and everything we did, we designed around kind of how we approach things in a software model, even though we actually sell physical hardware, so that whatever the next iteration is in technology, we'll be able to take advantage of that and be the thought leader. Just one example of this, and again, slight buzzword, is NVMe. So all vendors are talking about NVMe as the next kind of internal or external storage protocol, and we're way ahead of the pack. We've kind of been ready for this since 2015. So what we don't want to do is a customer buys an array today, new technology comes out, we create a new box, and then they have to buy the new thing and get rid of the old thing. Whatever you buy today and whatever you bought, let's say 3 years ago, was ready for this new thing called NVMe that we released about 4 months ago. So customers never get left behind on Pure technology. They're always going to stay ahead of the curve, pretty much at kind of zero cost with our flat evergreen model.
Amazing. And it's clear to see why you guys, continue to lead the pack in that sense. So, as always, it's fascinating. Every time we have you back on, Max and the team from Pure, there's always something new to talk about and new developments. And some of the things that Max has talked about there, in terms of the portfolio. If you look out for the link at the end of this stream, we've actually got a really amazing infographic that will help explain all of that to you, and then talk about working with Max and the team to look at some of these cloud workshops and storage workshops that we'll be doing as well to help you on that journey and help position where Pure might fit within your internal infrastructures. But as always, Max, great to have you on. We hope to have you back on at some point soon, and likewise you as viewers as well. Thank you.
Thank you.